Hi, this is Joey Ebanks, and I'm just letting you all know that the Joey Ebanks show is for paid programming. I accept all liability from the show. My guests will accept theirs and all callers, and I am not affiliated in any way with the Paramount Group of companies, its managers or employees. I don't want to be the premier. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Caymanian, Jamaican, English, American, Filipino, black men, white men, yellow men, all men. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this country, there is room for all of us, and the economy is strong enough to provide for all of us. Our way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost our way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded this country with hate, has sucked us into the misery and heartache. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. A financial industry that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than a financial industry, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will become more violent, harder, and all will be lost. The web, radio, and the social media has brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in man, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Through Facebook, my words can reach millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators will die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. RCIP, don't give yourself to brutes, men who despise you and enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as fodder. Don't give yourself to these unnatural men, machine men, with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men and women. You have a love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate. Only the unloved hate. The unloved and the unnatural. Political candidates, don't fight for slavery. Fight for liberty. Fight to liberate the Caymanian people from economic despair. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke, it's written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man, nor a group of men, but in all men. Not Taylor, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. So in the name of democracy, let's use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new Cayman, a decent Cayman, that will give people a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill their promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free this country, to do away with economic barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a country of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Caymanians, in the name of democracy, let us all unite. Hi everyone, welcome to another show, the Joey Ebanks radio show right here on Vibe 98.9 FM. And I think I need to do this once again because I need to make it clear I do not work for the Rankin family. I'm not affiliated with this organization. This is paid programming. I paid for it. This is my show, and I accept all liability. So, to the individuals that they're still threatening with the lawsuits, I mean, don't stop threatening and just sue me. Sue me so we can put the evidence on the table. Let's bring it all out. So, we're going to talk today. I want to talk a bit about the economy. The thing I think is the second most important issue in this country. It is the economy. The number one issue in this country, of course, from my standpoint, is corruption. And it does cause a tremendous amount of harm. If we don't remove the corruption that exists amongst the elite, corrupt elite, what we will find is that nothing else that we do will work because they'll always cheat And that's really what they're doing. They're just cheating and taking advantage. And I want to let you all know that one of the things that I had as a fear early on in this journey I was taking was the number of wealthy companies and individuals who were participating in this. And it's much less than I thought. It really is. This is really a very close-knit group of powerful people who are the cheaters. And I've been approached by many, many executives now, more and more. I mean, it's amazing. I had some discussions today with some executives from different companies, and they're very supportive. They are, in fact, saying, keep going, keep going, keep going. Here's one of the things one of them said to me. He said, in our organization, we kept looking at our strategy, trying to figure out why are certain companies outperforming us? What do they have that we don't have? We kept spending time changing our strategy, trying to fix this and fix that, and we just couldn't catch up. Now we're finding out the reason why we couldn't catch up is because they weren't playing by the same rules that we were playing. And folks, understand, some of these are companies owned by Caymanians. Some of these are companies owned by people on work permits, and some of these are owned by people who have new status holders who are saying, we want to obey the laws in this country. We don't want cheaters. And these are people willing to protect and ensure that Cayman is prosperous. And the problem with corruption is that it's so harmful. And some of when you see unnecessary development, that's corruption. That's when you see the corruption coming in place. There's a lack of attention to human capital development within the country. And there's, of course, the huge cost to taxpayers from lawsuits that arise from this. So there's the private sector and the government sector and the elite, corrupt elite working together. And when they get exposed, there's a massive amount of lawsuits coming with it. There is only really one way for us to tackle this. And for Cayman, we are a Christian society, and I don't say this with any wrong feelings towards any other religion. I have no issue with that. As I've said on the show before, my only issue is I don't have an issue with atheists either. That's their choice. But my Christian religion teaches me that those individuals are damned forever. And as I said, I mentioned on here before, I had a conversation in the past with Wendell Ledger where she said Caymanians were stupid simply because we believed in Jesus Christ. And quite frankly, I don't see why I should read anything that she writes, because if she's damned to hell already, why should I take advice from her, read anything that she has to say? So I just want to make it clear, I have an issue when people try and impose their own beliefs on me as well. But this is my show. You can cut it off if you're from a different religion. You don't want to hear the scripture I'm about to read, and cut it back on afterwards. That's your choice. But I want people to remember 2 Chronicles 7:14, because this is where we need to be right now. This is why I say to you again, we cannot drag our churches into this political debate in a negative fashion. We must show respect. The church that my opponent, Ezra Miller, insulted. Let me explain something to everyone from my standpoint. The church is not that building, The church is the people within that building. That's the church. So understand when I say the church, what my definition is. It is the people who attend those churches and who serve and seek spiritual guidance. And I want everyone, and especially the churches, to begin, if we're going to fight corruption, if we're going to return Cayman to what it was, to always remember 2 Chronicles 7:14. And it says, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive them their sin and will heal their land. And that's what we're looking at now. This is the first time in our history. I was told again today that this is the first time that this, some of the executives say, this has been going on for quite some while, Joey, and you're up against a very, very, very huge task here. Because this is no longer seen by some as corruption. This is the norm now. So we have, and this is the first time in a long time, if ever, that someone has stood up and said enough's enough. We have to end the corruption in this country. Now, I want to go back a bit, because I did say weeks out there was massive corruption with this commissioner of police. We are now seeing the number of police officers stepping forward. They're suing. There's an allegation that has been placed on the governor's desk, to my understanding, of allegation of corruption by the Commissioner of Police. So we know these people are coming out now. And I said this before they came out, and they're coming out now. So what I'm saying is I have my share of evidence too, and this has to happen. But we need independent investigations. We can't ask the people who are accusing to investigate themselves, is what I'm saying. That's not going to work. Okay, so the things that we have to ask ourselves is, what is the status on the Ezard Ritz work permits, for example? What's the status on that investigation? Is he going to be charged? Is there no charge? We need the governor and we need the Commissioner of Police to explain to the public what's going on with those. What's going on with the ERA 2011 audit? What's happening with the chairman of that board, the Auditor General's office, and the now acting MD with respect to that audit? What's the status on that? Are those emails still there? Have they been deleted? Has the server been wiped? What's going on with that information? Why isn't this being investigated? Why isn't it coming out? What's going on with the business staffing plan board chairman? What's the status of that? And the people who asked him to do whatever he did with those work permits, and who helped him with it. So this is part of that whole corruption elite group that we need to find out what's going on with these. And the Compass, to their credit, is doing a great job bringing these stories out now as well. More and more the police officers are coming forward. You see cases where the Commissioner of Police has just retired people without even telling them why and without consulting them first. And that's what Hitler would do, you know. So these are individuals who are causing our country a lot of harm. I also said and made it clear on Facebook as well as on here that there would be an attempt to shut this show down. That the Joey Ebanks radio show we would come under threat of being shut down. And I also said when I said that I also expected candidates to begin to team up against me, because they need to get rid of me and they need to get rid of the show, because there are connections to the corrupt elite that is going to affect certain candidates. Now, I got this email today from the Paramount Media Group, and they were informing me that Ezard Miller had made submitted an application to the ICTA. The ICTA governs the licenses for radio stations, and he was asking them to shut the show down. In fact, he wasn't asking them to shut the show down. He was asking them to shut the entire Paramount Media radio stations down. So he wanted them all shut down. And, of course, what the ICTA has to do is to, in fact, submit to Paramount, or whoever the radio station is, the complaint with all the documentation. And right on there is an email from Al Saku to Ezard, and he says, this is all I could find, and it's an old post that I had from March the 2nd on Facebook. Now, I don't know how you take a post from Facebook and get the ICTA to use as evidence and reason to shut the radio station down, but they obviously thought it could be done. So there you see Al Saku from PPM helping Ezard out in order to shut Joey Ebanks' radio show down. So that's teamwork is beginning to form now, because here's how it works in politics, folks. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So as long as they can get rid of whoever's causing them little harm, that's what they're going to do. And those are the people who are actually, in fact, don't have a real reason to get elected. They just won't get elected. So they'll do anything. The other thing that to pay in mind is this, that this is the PPM now forming their little alliances to get their organization move forward. Now they're already beginning to handpick and decide who they don't think can win, and they're going to be within the next week or so. They're going to start pushing them over the cliff, just like it was done in the last election by their current leader Alden McLaughlin, when we have these things called yard meetings. And when we have yard meetings, you go in, you meet on the street with different people. He couldn't make it to very many of them. So you had Alfonso go, Lucille went, and of course, Mr. Tibbetts went. And he would show up the next day, and he began to tell the people, oh, well, you don't need to vote for Lucille Seymour or Alfonso. Vote for me and Kurt and Mike Adams and Wallen Whitaker. So what he was doing, really, he knew he had lost the election. So Fonzo was actually winning. He needed to dilute and pull away support from Alfonso Wright. And in doing so, he split the vote so that he was assured he would get his seat. So that was his strategy, and this is the current leader of the PPM. So I hear a lot of people are saying that, some of the things he said in his speech last night about the West Bay people, calling them dogs. And I want you all to know that I said all of that to say that don't take his words too badly, because he'll do that to anybody. Just as he did it to his good friend and colleague, Alfonso Wright, he'll do that to anybody. So, teaming up with Ezzard. Now, producer, I would like you to play the Ezzard comments as it relates to the ICCI, because this is what they're teaming up with him, is supporting. So Ezzard said this, they heard this, but they're still supporting him, so they now support these words too. It's fair to say. Producer, would you play that for us, please?
On the show tonight, that I'm a coward and I'm scared to come and debate this brilliant man that got his 3, 4, or 5 degrees, what he got from that little one-room place down in Newlands that you drive past, and you might even notice it when you pass.
Well, I think it goes beyond that, for sure. That is a place that has produced many of our brilliant scholars.
So if you see, this is the teamwork. This is what they support. They have a preference for him, and this is also the kind of policy that they would support. Now, I want to make something perfectly clear to you all. When it comes to Kurt Tibbetts, and I'm going to call him Mr. Kurt Tibbetts, I have nothing but the utmost of respect for this gentleman. I can tell you that I've never had a bad day with him. I consider him to be one of the icons of this country, and it is so unfortunate that I know I've spent enough time with him to know that he doesn't want to be in this business anymore. He wants to go home now. He wants to spend time with his beautiful wife. He wants to hang out with his kids a little bit. He's been at this for so long, working so hard, that he just wants to go home and spend some time with his wife and his family. And I know that the reasons why he's in this still is to help get candidates elected, so he's making for the sacrifice. So I want to say to the people of Georgetown that, I want you to understand, I too care very much for this gentleman. I do. There's nothing he could ask me to do that I wouldn't do, within reason, of course. And I do have a tremendous amount of respect for him. He has a young son who's going to go on to great things in music. And his wife is a stalwart community service lady. And they have made so much sacrifice for this country. And I know he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be leader anymore. He doesn't want to be in politics. He wants to go home. He wants to do things with his wife. And it's unfortunate that, he's still here trying to get the PPM leader elected. And that is something that, it's unfortunate he finds himself. He created this party, and he just can't walk away from it. But I do want to say I wish him nothing but success and happiness. And he can always count on Joey Ebanks if I can ever do anything to assist him, other than help his current leader. I'm more than happy to do that for Mr. Tibbetts. You're a great man. I think you've done more than your share. You've helped more than your share of people. And I do really wish that things were different, and you could enjoy that retirement now that we talked about years ago, and you would be able to spend some time, because you're still very young, still very strong, with your beautiful wife and children, and have enjoy life. And sir, I don't say this. I know this is recorded, so I'll put it on YouTube and Facebook if you want to hear it. And this is a personal invitation for me to you to please call me if you like to come on the show and you want to talk about this or anything else. I'm more than happy to have you as my guest. And I can assure you will get nothing but the utmost respect from me while you're here. And for as long as you're alive, I will have nothing but the utmost respect for you. And again, it does sadden me that you're still forced into this business to help people get elected, when I know that you want other things and you have other plans. So, people of Georgetown, I just want you to know that, like you, many of you, I have nothing but the utmost respect for him. And if it was up to me, I would certainly give him his wish, which would be to spend now some time with his beautiful wife and children. And, he's done enough. He's done enough. He has worked very hard, very diligently. And this is someone that this country needs to show nothing but the utmost respect to. And there is absolutely no
no shame or no loss or no ill feeling to give him his wish so that he may be able to go home and enjoy his beautiful wife and children. On that note, because it is quite emotional for me that we go to a commercial break. And we're going to be right back, so don't change the dial. We'll be right back. Stay tuned to the Joey Ebanks radio show. We're right here on Vibe 98.9 FM. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Joey Ebanks radio show. And I want to talk a little bit about the economy tonight. And as to the attempt by Ezzard and Al-Saku to have the show shut down, you can find the emails and all the evidence. It's right there on my Facebook page. I copied the letters and posted them up. I think they're on the Joey Ebanks radio show photo album. So take a look for yourself. It's all right there. There's nothing that I am not willing to share with you. So I want to talk about the economy. Now, if you bear with me, and remember we're taking calls tonight, 946-9898. That's 946-9898. So bear with me as I cover some stuff with the economy very quickly. And this is some background information to explain what's going on in the economy. We all know what's going on in the economy. We know it's bad. We know we have unemployment. And we hear all the candidates saying, oh, it's bad, we want to get jobs, right? No one's willing to drill down and talk about how we do that. So there's also a lot of use of sustainable development. We want sustainable development. But no one really tells you what sustainable development means. So I'm going to try and boil this all down into a very quick synopsis, because there's two things you have to understand. One is the economic leakage. And economic leakage means that we're creating cash and work through work internally, and we're purchasing from overseas, so the money is leaving the economy and leaving the country. Now, some of the stuff that I explain, I know some of you know it, and I know some don't, so bear with me. So that's what economic leakage is. And where we get huge economic leakage from is fuel and food. I'm just going to pick those two, because fuel from electricity, for example, is something that we can tackle with renewable energy. So if we're using wind or sun, we're actually not importing the fuel. That's the fuel. So we eliminate the cost of that fuel from leaving the country. So that stays here. More importantly, it stays in the pockets of the households so that they got more money to spend. It's called disposable income. And food, we spend about somewhere around $100 million a year importing food. $100 million. And I'm saying that the greenhouse farming, opening up some of the interior land, we can take a chunk of that. No, we're not going to take 50%, but we can very rapidly get to about 20%. And we can co-opt this and lay it out so that persons are making money. The other component to add to that in policy would be seasonal tariffs. So what I mean by that is if Mr. Brown is doing tomatoes and his tomato season is June, July, and August, what we need to do is all tomatoes imported, raise the duty on them to 1,000%, so that they're so expensive with it, Mr. Brown gets to sell all of his tomatoes and make a profit. Then when he's out, that 1,000% duty drops back down to a norm, and the tomatoes are coming in. So we're discouraging imports of farm produce food when our local farmers are ready to go to market. So that's really all it is. And we can make it seasonal, easy to do. Don't let nobody fool you that laws can't be changed and they can't be adjusted to suit the needs of the people. If they're not going to suit the needs of the people, why are we making them? The other thing is trade balance. Now, big countries like America, they're looking at exports and imports, and they're trying to ensure that the number of exports exceeds that of imports. That way more money is staying in their economy, as well as more jobs. For us, we don't have that, but what we have is an importation of capital to tourism and through our financial industry. So cash comes in that way. So we're not manufacturing, but we're bringing through goods and bringing services that allows us to have a surplus trade balance. So in comes the cash from the tourism group, in comes the cash through the financial industry. Now we're hoping that exceeds the amount that we spend overseas, and we try and get trade balance there. So if we tackle my two items, fuel, and we tackle it not for vehicles, which we can as well with electric cars, but if we tackle that at fuel for electricity and how much CUC uses to generate diesel, here's a policy we need. Here's what we need. We need the households, residents in particular, to have 50% of their electrical demand through renewables, through solar, through wind, through ocean, through whatever other means, renewable means, so that we eliminate the economic leakage for fuel. And that puts cash in their pocket. What do they do with that cash? Here's the way our economy works. The government makes revenue based upon our consumption. It's all consumption based. So when we spend here locally, those stores, the restaurants, all the car sales, all the businesses, they're importing these goods to sell to us. And for each one that they sell, the government gets a percentage through the duty. So the more we consume here, the more revenues the government makes. So the argument has been for years against me that if you cut fuel consumption and electricity, the government's revenues are going to go down. Rubbish. It's not going to happen. People with more cash in their pocket, consuming more on island, will buy more goods, and the government's revenues will be stabilized and will be the same. So people will go to the A.L. Thompsons, for example, the hardware stores, the Cox, and so on, fix up their house, buy new cars, eat out more at restaurants who import food or buy it from the greenhouse farming. And we'll have more consumption. But here's what's most important. It'll be a better quality of life for the people. That's where we have to start from. We can't start with, we have to protect the government revenue. What we have to start with is, how can we improve the quality of life for our citizens? We improve the quality of our lives from our citizens by ensuring they have more disposable income, by removing some of the high cost of living. Two very quick ones is the fuel and electricity from CUC, and the food that we import with duties. High cost, for example, milk is duty-free, but it's extremely expensive, isn't it? It is. So the price is up because it's a perishable. So they have losses, and they increase the price to recover the cost for their losses. So if they bring in 6 gallons of milk and 2 happen to spoil before they sell them, they recover the cost of that spoilage by increasing the cost on the others. And that's some of the reasons why it's high. I don't understand why it's so high in Kimmerbrook. I really don't. Kimmerbrook has duty-free on fuel, duty-free on so many things, and yet their cost is higher than ours. So, I mean, I heard Moses Connell talking about all the reasons why, but quite frankly, nothing that they have said makes any sense to me. It really doesn't. There's absolutely no reason why the price for food and fuel in Kimmerbrook should be as high as it is. It should be much lower. So we eliminate the fuel from the electricity cost to renewables, access to renewables, cheap renewables too. Bring the price down. And that allows the consumer to have more disposable income in their pockets. We do the greenhouse farming so that we can grow our own food, and we're importing less, and we grow at our pace, and we're also in protecting the farmers with seasonal tariffs on imports so that they're making a profit. And of course, we maintain our high level of the tourism product and protect our banking industry, and that gives us some imported cash. So if we take that concept and we break it down further, we go to what I have outlined in the 4-year plan for Northside. And year one, I mentioned this before, is to reduce unemployment by 60%. I want to be able to immediately identify persons who qualify for low-income housing and begin that in year one. And I also want to be able to start the retooling, make sure we have the after-school program going, do the hurricane preparedness training and qualification, make sure we identify the 3 or 4 persons who could be potential successors for the MLA position, so that I'm gone in 2 terms, if that's okay with the Northside people, that is, and if I can produce what I said. Make sure that we get those 2 primary schools, Northside and Eastern primary schools, to become IB certified, and have that disaster recovery program ready for Northside in the event of a hurricane. So that's in year one. Year two is the mechanic shop, making sure those young men and those mechanically inclined individuals have a co-op mechanic shop that they can earn a living. So we're doing this to help create jobs and shrink the unemployment, make sure people have cash in their pockets. We also need to do quarterly, 4 times a year, have an event in Northside. Why do we need this? That brings outsiders into Northside once a quarter to spend money. We want them to come in, buy our goods and services, enjoy our functions, enjoy whatever the event is that we're having, so that they can spend money across the district. So what we're doing is creating a sustainable economy through quarterly events. So we have Pirates Week already. That's one event. But we need to do other events. And these are easy to do. We could have a jet ski race, a boat race. We could have a band come in for a concert. We could do different things. This is not difficult. And we invite the rest of the country to come and enjoy our food, have our households prepare food, sell food. And then when they sell food, what they're doing is their household is getting more money. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that each household has cash, and increase of cash and access to cash. Because when we get out to year 3, we want to be able to start looking at our whole tourism product and how we're going to roll that out with boutique hotels, at least 3 coming in year 4. Because we have to start thinking in year 3, but we have to prepare in year 1 and 2, and then start planning in earnest then in year 3 as to where they should go, how they should look, and where we want to fit them. Because then we're going to need our marketing team from Northside, or Northside people who are marketing experts, to tell us, okay, here's how we're going to start marketing this and working with the Department of Tourism to make sure that our tourist product is branded the way we want it and gets out to the rest of the world. And we're talking about little boutique hotels that we can have 40, 50, 60 rooms, and we can keep them occupied at probably 95, 96%, 99% of the time. That's what we're looking for. Those are our objectives. So we build small because we're just penetrating. And we want to be able to make sure that the locals who own those boutiques, own those little boutique hotels, are able to make money. Because we don't, and we can market it for them and with the help of the DOT. So we begin by going back to year 1, making sure that we get people jobs, get sustainable, get our own little sustainable economy going in the north side, get cash flowing, get the retraining and retooling, preparing our human capital, and we begin to slowly grow, do more businesses. So we introduce some small businesses as well in year 2. Deep sea fishing, reef fishing. So we take some of the young men who personally may have a criminal record, and none of the private sector will give them a job. But we want to be able to give them a little business, just taking tourists out fishing, even if it's just reef fishing in a small boat. They can charge $10 US, $15 US, and carry 4, 5, 6 people out. Reef fish, come back ashore, prepare it for them, cook it Northside style if they like, and give it to them with a beer, and that's part of the package that they're selling. Give it to them with some tamarind juice. Give it to them with, different juices that Willis Farm could also be producing. So we're creating a Northside experience, a true tourism Northside experience. And what we're going to have to do for the young men and the other people who are doing these little businesses is, of course, put them through some training, pride training with the Department of Tourism to make sure that the entire Cayman tourism brand is protected as well. Because we want our brand to be, our standards to be even higher than the national standards, because we want long-term customer sustainability within our little things that we do. Jet ski rentals are another simple little one. We don't need 200 jet skis for a young couple to be able to have a little business. We can start with 6. We can start with 3. And they can do jet ski rentals right in the tourism sector at the Rum Point, Cayman Kai area. And they get to have some customers. We can do some greenhouse farming. And of course, we have some beautiful environmental tourism product like the Mastic Trail that we can utilize and allow for tours. And scholarships, we have to start kicking those scholarships in place in year 1 and 2 to make sure that we have our young people coming home to help us build upon what we're building. And we're going to make some sacrifices to, our generation, certainly, to how much we sacrifice to make sure that the next generation has something and are able to take it the distance. So that begins year 1 and 2. Of course, beautification is there. We can't have a sustainable, strong tourism product without beautification. We can't combat crime without having beautification in there. So that has to fit in. The thing that we have to target, there's 2 specific percentages of human capital issues that I have. Is one, high level of dropout from high schools that we have to target immediately and make sure we shrink that as far down to 0 as we possibly can. In fact, we want 0 dropouts. And we want to make sure that from a north side popular standpoint, the number of people going to northward and jail is 0. So we want to create an environment. I know people are going to say that's utopic, but it's a small community.
And if we set aside the indifferences and we pull together, people are going to have hard days. People are going to make mistakes, and we need to prop them up. As a community, we need to step up and say, hey, man, it's okay. Come on, let's go again. And that's how you do that. It's not utopia. Okay? Yes, we will have bad people. Yes, we will lose people along the way. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to get it to zero. And it's the trying that's important. Don't let the pessimists out there tell us that we can't do certain things. Let us try to do it and work together to make it happen. Then we get into year 3. We need to then begin to look at some more broader scale infrastructure, like interior road development, to make sure that we get the interior roads, for example, in the New Man Bay Road. So it comes out in the back of Old Man Bay, and we begin to open up the interior lands there. That allows us so many different options. So we take from the farm road and we run that road through to come out there by the barn or Niconorty, where that was, and we've opened up the interior. Then we're still solidifying our partnership with the Department of Tourism and Building Control Unit, making sure that the way Northside is presented is the way we want it presented. And making sure district councils have set up on my Facebook page now what that would look like, how I would have to report to each unit. And the units, for each unit, they're empowered with their own chairman, with their own group, to be able to attack specific areas that we want to attack to help develop. So I become a reporting agency. Of course, there's two-way communication, whereby we can have communication and help develop. And we have to start small, and we're going to move forward and making sure that's occurring. We have a call on the line. Let's go straight to the phone lines. Hi, caller, you're on there. Hello? Hello? Oh, lost him? Sorry about that. We lost them. So by last year 3, we got to make sure that, we have street lighting for the district, make sure it's brightly lit, beautified. We're working, getting the interior. Year 4, we want to make sure that senior citizens' home is then in place, so that we can have, room. It can house 4 or 5 our senior citizens. What that allows us to do is keep our senior citizens close to their family, so that the travel and the number of visits is increased really, and their seniors in the twilight years. We have a call on the line. Let's go straight to the phone lines. Hello, caller, you're on there. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry, no one there. So we have that, and that increases the number of visits that our people we have with our senior citizens and family members. And then the marketing plan should be now redeveloped to make sure that it's rolled out in partnership with DOT. And we begin by year 4, then we begin to get into the next election. And then what I have in my plan is for certainly the district council overall and those teams to start calling for nominations for candidates. And it should be a runoff if they bring forward a number of potential candidates and persons interesting. It should be a runoff there with me and them prior to the election. And if I should lose in that runoff, I'm committing to helping whoever they choose get elected, and making sure that I work hard to help that person get elected. So it's laid out. I have it on my Facebook page. I have it available for emails if there are people who wish to have a copy. They can send me a request to joe@candw.ky, and I'll send it to you. So most of my entire manifesto has been done. It's been done for years. I know why I want to run. What you heard there is my Northside plan. First 4 years. And as we go through this, I'll develop the next 4. And if the Northside, if I'm elected this time and the North, I do a good job and the Northside people want to keep me, and they re-elect me, I'll do it again. There is one thing that I need to make very, very clear. It is that all of these plans that I have here is very easy for someone to say, where are you going to get the money? I can tell you I already do. I have the money for these plans. I don't need the government money. What I need from the government is going to be the approvals for certain use of certain government lands. And I've spoken to some candidates I believe is going to win as well.
and several of them across different areas. And they have looked at it, and their response has said, yes, we'll support that because it's very reasonable, Joey. There's nothing unreasonable about what you're asking for. So I have private sector people, like I told you, they're coming out and saying, keep the fight up, keep the fight up. And they're beginning to build what's called equity funds. So they're looking at pooling cash and having people invest in a little fund that we access to do some of this work and pay them back. We have a call on the line? Let's go straight to the phone line. Hello, caller, you're on there.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ebanks. This is a man from the block that I don't like.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I've listened to your show, and I got a funny feeling I'm going to say somebody's playing around with that telephone to try and make you look like a fool.
Yeah, they can't, though, you know.
I know that, but I picked up some funny songs there when I go with my one
Yeah,
ear.
I did too.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's I'm sure it's someone from C4C or PPM with a lot of time on their hands.
But tell me something. What does that stand for?
C4C?
Yeah.
Well, I understand it stands for Coalition for Cash.
I thought was craving for cash.
Yeah, it could be that too. But I'm not. I don't, no one knows anymore. It started as a lie. It's operating as a lie. You know, they say they're not a party, but they're one team, and they're not a team, political team, but they're independent. So I don't know what they stand for anymore.
So in other words, they just don't know what they want.
They don't know what they want. No, they just want power. They know
I tell you that stands for craving for cash.
Craving for cash. Yeah, that sounds like a good one.
I'll let you call you back after today, okay?
All right, buddy. Thank you for your
But
call.
I just had to put that in because I heard somebody in the background trying to make you look like a fool. I said, yeah, this is an idiot in the background.
Yeah, you know how they are, but that's cool. I'm good.
Well, I hope they hear me.
Yes, I hope so too.
And don't give up.
Number one from the brack, this election is about us, the grassroots people. That's what this is about. No longer will we bow to those of wealth and feel that they're superior to us. They can keep it. We have to work together as a grassroots people and make sure we get the right government in.
That's right, sir. Make it be right and tell them keep it right.
Keep it right, yes.
Right. All right, sir. Have a good evening.
Thank you again.
All right, bye.
All right, so I was saying that to the people on our side, you know, I have investors, so they're setting up the funds. So that becomes available. And that in no way do I come near that. That's set up by the expertise that we have in the island who's willing to do that for us. And we can then look at that's where we're going to source our funds with commitments on payback. So our business models and plans have to be really tight so that we're assured, because it makes no sense to build businesses without a customer base. So we have to get the customer flow and the businesses coinciding and flowing together. That way we have that customer base and source of income that allows us to pay back the debt and invest with the people. So that's going to happen. I have 3 meetings planned for the election. I'm going to be in Frank Sound on May the 7th at the Frank Sound Park. Tuesday, May the 7th, Frank Sound Park at 7 p.m. Then I'm going to be in Old Man Bay by the play field there Old Man Bay. I haven't decided exactly where. On Tuesday, May the 14th. So that's Tuesday, May the 14th, Old Man Bay, 7 p.m. as well. And then on Tuesday, May the 21st, Hut Road Junction, and I have to confirm with the Chisholm group if I could use by their supermarket. I haven't confirmed yet, but I'm advertising it, so I hope they don't say no. But there's some space on the road there, I guess. If they say no, I'll have to go there. So 3 meetings, and here's what I'm going to do with these 3 meetings, folks. The first meeting, I'm going to roll this plan out for you, show it to you, and you can ask all the questions. Make sure you come prepared. It's on my Facebook page. If you have a young Northsider who has Facebook, they can access it there and share with your household. If you want to discuss it before the meeting, you can do that with me by calling me at 917-9288, and I'll come and meet with you. I am coming canvassing and rolling out and knocking on doors and shaking hands and handing out my manifesto. It'll also have it. But feel free to begin to review it as your household. So that all you're looking and saying, okay, how will this work? Look for opportunities for yourselves too within the plan and what you can contribute and how you can help. What we're doing is pulling together our little community together, making a difference. That's what we want to do. We want to be able to change the game now and make sure that we're working together. And there's equity. We want to make sure everybody can get something out of this, and we don't leave anybody behind and impoverished in a way or left out. We don't want pyramids in Northside.
we want to reduce that as far as possible. It's impossible to get rid of them altogether, but we want to shrink them as far as possible. We want to have some peace and tranquility and unity. And then on Tuesday, May the 7th is when I'm going to roll the plan out to you. If you're I'm asking you to please come to my meeting at the Frank Sound Park. And then at that meeting, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do at Tuesday, May the 14th meeting. And when I finish the 14th meeting, I'm going to tell you there at the 14th meeting what we're going to do on May the 21st meeting. And the three of these pretty much fit the entire plan together. So let me tell you anyway. May the 7th, I'm going to roll the plan out to you right there, that we can talk about it afterwards. And then I'm going to say to you, for every person who believes that they qualify for low-income housing, come to my meeting on May the 14th in Old Man Bay, and we're going to take down the names, and we're going to begin the assessment process to see who qualifies. And we'll let you know if you qualify or not. Then on Tuesday, May the 21st at the Hat Road Junction, we're going to be taking names for people who, in fact, are interested in a small business and who believe that they can contribute to that. And we'll be taking names down for that. So on the 14th is for the low-income homes. And I also want to add to the May the 14th one, unemployed people. Those persons looking a job, we're going to have a separate table with a list there for us to take down names and be able to look at what you're looking for from a job standpoint. Because the team working with me behind the scenes, they have to start working so that on May the 22nd, once you elect me, we can start work on the 23rd. I don't want to be coming around to you good people of Northside on the 23rd making excuses. I want to come and say, okay, that's what we talked about. You need to be here, you need to be there, and we can roll this thing out and we can start going. The faster we need to be quick because time flies sometimes, and we're looking at some in the early stage of what might appear to be to some people really grandiose. It's not. These are simple targets, simple tasks. We're not building a Ritz-Carlton, for example. It's a good thing too because buddy there might want to sell them some work permits. But we're not building a Ritz-Carlton. We're literally starting very small and leading ourselves, building our wealth, and stepping forward, working a little bit harder, stepping forward with some more wealth until we get to a point where we can then start to dream a little bigger. Because I want to show you folks that in Northside that the year one is all the really easy stuff. These are what we call the low-hanging fruit that we can pick and resolve very easily. Some of the people helping me behind the scenes can build the low-income housing. So they'll put you to work and give you jobs. They have sufficient cash and build for the qualified people who qualify. Once the billing is done, the people have been qualified. Naturally, we hand them over to the housing scheme within government. That's the other thing I need to talk to the other elected members for support to ensure that the investor then gets their money back out of it and the people have a part of the scheme to pay back and be able to own their own home and the design and everything. So we need to work together is what I'm saying. And I'm saying to the young people on the North Side that, look, all of this, all of year 1, 2, 3, and 4 is I really designed with you all in mind. But you need to tell me what's wrong with it and what you want to change. So I do invite you. I do invite you to come and stand beside me and take a look at what I'm proposing so that we can hold hands and we can move forward together. And I'm not going to leave any of you behind. And I'm not going to stay around and lead you forever. And as we grow together, I'm going to do less leading and you're going to lead more. And I'm going to follow you a little bit. And then I'm going to step away and I'm going to let you have your district so that you can choose your own candidate. You can go forward and make your decisions. And by then, I'm hoping that you and I would have built a relationship whereby we're so close that you can feel that you can trust me to bounce things off me in my old age and retirement, that you can move forward. But you'll be so well equipped. And I'm going to make sure you have scholarships as well. I'm not talking about pure sweat equity. I'm talking about intellectual equity as well, so that you can stand strong. And there are lots of young Northsiders who are extremely brilliant and very smart and have a lot to offer. I've hung up with you long enough to know that. I spent many a Saturday under the almond tree there by marshes as well with other young men and other areas with young people. And I correspond
on Facebook with other young people, and we have some very, very intelligent people. I'm going to make sure, my role in the early stage is going to make sure that there's no barriers there for you. And that when you dream, we can have a serious discussion about it, a frank discussion about your dream, and we can start the process of making that dream a reality and how we do it. And I'm not going to carry you. What I'm going to do is kick the walls down for you. But you're going to have to walk and you're going to have to run, because otherwise it will never work. So I'm just there to kick the doors in, and you're there to dream, you're there to go after it, and you're there to build that. I want to come back right after this commercial break. I'm going to do another 15 minutes if I can, and then we're done for the day. So remember, you can give us a call at 946-9898, 946-9898, and it's the Joe Ebanks Radio Show right here on Vibe 98.9 FM.
98.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to wrap up the show for this evening. Remember, you can still make calls. You can still call at 946-9898, 946-9898. So in the last few minutes, I rolled out my plan for Northside in the first 4 years. And remember that I have said, and I'll say it again, that my condition is I include the fact that I can be recalled for not performing. I've laid out I've given you as well the dates for the meeting. The meetings that I will have in Northside: Tuesday, May the 7th in Frankstown at 7, Tuesday, May the 14th at 7 in Old Man Bay, and then we'll have the final one Tuesday, May the 21st at the Hat Road Junction at 7 p.m. as well. So the plan is there. We're taking calls. We're chatting. You have a call on the line? Let's go straight to the phone line. Hello, caller. You're on there.
How are you?
Very well. Thank you for your call.
But I didn't really get the part of what the PPM said at their meeting yesterday.
Well, there is a significant amount of people saying that what was said was the West Bay people.
I mean the West Bay part.
Yeah, the West Bay part was that the West Bay people are puppies and they follow the big dog or something to that effect.
Okay, that's so curious because, like, where has the PPM that are running now in West Bay, where have they been all this time? Like, some people don't even know them. Like, for example, they don't even live in West Bay.
True. Well, and that's the other thing. I mean, the remark would have insulted them too.
Is when they appear.
Yeah.
So West Bay is ain't no fool, and I just want them to know that.
Okay.
And that's all I have to say. Keep up the good work.
Thank you for your call as well. Okay, bye. So I've rolled out the plan there. Certainly, there's no place for any candidate to denigrate constituents from other districts. We should take it to the issue debate. I know you hear that from me, it's kind of strange, but sometimes it gets rough. It's politics. It gets rough sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that, getting a little bit rough sometimes. But we keep that between us. We don't go to the constituents. We keep that within the political groups. And in my case, with the corruption areas, I'm going after corruption. And if a poor person is involved with corruption, I find I'm going to go after them just as hard as I'm going after the corrupt elite. So that's separate and apart from that kind of statement that, they're puppies and they follow the big dog. I mean, you just don't say that. I mean, don't call people dogs. And in fact, even dogs are due respect, So that was the statement that's bouncing around on all the blog pages and certainly within the Facebook arena. And it's rough to say that to someone. Just as this is wrong, the statement that I'm going to ask the producer to play the school statement, because this, when you support Ezra, this is the kind of policy and thinking that you're supporting. So if you could just play that clip for us.
On the show tonight that I'm a coward and I'm scared to come and debate this brilliant man that got his 3, 4, or 5 degrees, what they got from that little one-room place down in Newlands that you drive past and you might even notice it when you pass.
Well, I think it goes beyond that for sure. That is a place that has produced many of our brilliant scholars.
We're going straight to the phone lines. We have a call on the line.
Yes, Joey.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for your call.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just heard you play something that was spoken on the radio show by your member there in our side who is running. Why not play what you said was said last night? Why not get that played? Because no such thing was said at the meeting about anybody in West Bay being dogs.
Thank you very much for clearing that.
You try to tell the truth. You stop being a liar, okay?
No, I'm telling you what was read on the Facebook pages and in the blog sites, what has been bounced around, what has been said a number of times. But certainly, the caller shouldn't have just said by, clarify it, and make sure that the truth is out there. I'm not going to cut anyone off because the information I received was inaccurate, or I read is inaccurate. I've certainly seen enough of it within the blog sites and so on. So, folks, it does get rough sometimes. We all have the people we're going to vote for and support. There is nothing wrong with defending your team and your candidate. Nothing wrong at all. And speaking out and saying, hey, that wasn't said. This is what was said, and we want to clarify that. And I have no qualms whatsoever with saying, I apologize, I was wrong. So let's be clear on that. There's really no need to hang up. We can have the discussion. What I can tell you is that on my Facebook page is the letter from Ezard and the emails and so on from Al Saku calling for the shutdown of the Paramount Group, Paramount Media Group to the ICTA. So we're now at 6:13. That's the additional 6:14. That's the additional 15-minute segment. So I'm going to ask my producer to take us home, and I want to say to you all, thank you very much for tuning in to the Joe Ebanks Radio Show. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you here on Monday. I have a young man by the name of Chaz who's going to come on Monday, and he's going to talk about recycling. So we're looking forward to having him on. And again, I extend the invitation. I've gotten a few emails from small businesses and persons wanting to come on and talk about their small businesses and the difficulties. So email me at joe@candw.ky. Give me a shout there and tell me about your business, and we can arrange it. We can take 2 or 3 people in the studio at one time so that we can have a chat about small businesses and what the difficulties are. Again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening and making the Joe Ebanks Radio Show #1 in Cayman. Good night.